think of Cleopatra, what comes to mind? A beautiful seductress who brought powerful Roman men to their knees. That's the Hollywood version. But the real Cleopatra VII was far more complex. A brilliant strategist, a ruthless politician, and the last true pharaoh of Egypt. Today, we're peeling back the layers of myth to uncover the unwritten history of power, politics, and poison that defined her incredible life. First, let's get one thing straight. Cleopatra wasn't ethnically Egyptian. She was Greek, a descendant of Ptolemy the First Soter, one of Alexander the Great's generals, who claimed Egypt after Alexander's death. This established the Ptolemaic dynasty, a line of rulers known for two things: keeping the bloodline pure through inbreeding, and a brutal willingness to eliminate anyone, including family, who stood in the way of the throne. Cleopatra's own father, Ptolemy XII, was once overthrown by his eldest daughter, Bernice. He had to crawl to the Roman general Pompey for help to reclaim his crown. And when he did, he had Bernice executed. This was the violent, treacherous world Cleopatra was born into in 69 BCE. But she was different. Unlike her ancestors, who walled themselves off in the Greek city of Alexandria, Cleopatra embraced her kingdom. She was the first Ptolemaic ruler in 300 years to learn to speak Egyptian fluently. And that was just one of her many languages. She was a polymath, educated in philosophy, politics, astronomy, and mathematics. She was a master of rhetorica, art of persuasion. She knew that knowledge, not just bloodline, was power. When her father died, 18-year-old Cleopatra was named Corula, with her even younger brother, Ptolemy XIII, whom she was forced to marry according to tradition. But Cleopatra had no intention of being a junior partner. She quickly asserted her authority, making decisions, minting coins with her face alone, and effectively sidelining her brother husband. This didn't sit well with Ptolemy's advisors. They saw her as a threat and conspired against her, eventually driving her into exile. Meanwhile, Rome was tearing itself apart. A civil war raged between two giants, Julius Caesar and Pompey the Great. Pompey, defeated, fled to Egypt, seeking refuge. But Ptolemy XIII's court saw an opportunity to curry favor with the victor Caesar. They did the unthinkable. They ambushed Pompey on the shore and assassinated him, presenting his severed head to Caesar upon his arrival. The plan backfired spectacularly. Caesar was disgusted. He'd wanted to pardon his old rival, not see him murdered. He occupied the palace in Alexandria and found himself in the middle of an Egyptian power struggle. This was Cleopatra's moment. Exiled and outnumbered, she knew a direct approach was impossible. So she got creative. Legend says she had herself smuggled into the palace, rolled up in a carpet, and delivered directly to Caesar's private quarters. Imagine Caesar's surprise. But it wasn't just a gimmick. When she emerged, she wasn't just a desperate queen. She was a brilliant political mind who could speak his language, debate philosophy, and present a compelling case for why her brother was unfit to rule. She used her intellect and charisma to forge an alliance. Caesar sided with her. The ensuing conflict, the siege of Alexandria, saw Ptolemy XIII defeated. He drowned in the Nile River while trying to escape, leaving Cleopatra as the sole ruler of Egypt. Their political alliance quickly blossomed into a personal one. Cleopatra and Caesar became lovers, and she gave birth to his only son, Caesarion. This wasn't just a romance, it was a strategic union. Caesarion symbolized the potential fusion of two of the world's greatest powers, Rome and Egypt. With Caesar's backing, Cleopatra's reign brought a period of stability and prosperity to Egypt. She was a competent administrator. When a severe famine struck, she didn't hoard resources. She opened the royal granaries and distributed food to her people, cementing their loyalty. She was also a patron of learning, supporting the legendary Library of Alexandria. She and her son later visited Rome, living in one of Caesar's villas. But her presence was a problem for the Roman elite. They saw a foreign queen and her son, a potential heir who could upend the Roman Republic and create a Hellenistic-style monarchy with Caesar as king. This fear, combined with Caesar's growing power, fueled a conspiracy. On the Ides of March 44 BC, Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of senators. His death threw the Roman world into chaos. For Cleopatra, it was a disaster. Her protector was gone. Fearing for her own life and that of her son, she fled Rome and returned to Egypt immediately. After Caesar's death, a new power struggle erupted in Rome. His loyal general, Mark Antony, and his adopted heir, Octavian, joined forces to hunt down the assassins. They succeeded, and then divided the Roman world between them. Antony got the wealthy eastern provinces, which included Egypt. He needed Egypt's money and resources to fund his armies, and so he summoned its queen to meet him. Cleopatra, understanding the power of spectacle, didn't just show up. She made an entrance. She sailed to meet Antony on a magnificent golden barge with purple sails and silver oars, herself dressed as the goddess Aphrodite. Antony was instantly captivated. He was a man who appreciated grand gestures, and this was the grandest of them all. He fell deeply in love. Forgetting his duties in Rome, he followed her back to Alexandria. Their political alliance was sealed by a passionate romance. Antony helped Cleopatra secure her throne by eliminating her remaining rivals, her younger brother, Ptolemy XIV, and her exiled sister, Arsinoe. Together, they had twins, Alexander Helios and Cleopatra Selene. But back in Rome, Antony's rival, Octavian, was watching. When Antony's Roman wife died, Octavian forced a political marriage between Antony and his own sister, Octavia, to try and pull him back into the Roman sphere. Antony agreed, but his heart remained in Egypt. He eventually left Octavia and returned to Cleopatra, publicly declaring Caesarion as Caesar's true heir and dividing the eastern territories among Cleopatra and their children. For Octavian, this was the ultimate betrayal. He launched a masterful propaganda campaign, painting Antony as a puppet of a decadent foreign queen who wanted to rule Rome from Alexandria. He declared war not on Antony, but on Cleopatra. The final showdown came at the naval Battle of Actium in 31 BCE. The battle was a disaster for Antony and Cleopatra. Their fleet was outmaneuvered and destroyed. They managed to escape and flee back to Egypt. But the war was lost. What happened next is a tragic tale of manipulation and despair. Octavian's forces closed in on Alexandria, To sow discord, Octavian spread a false rumor to Antony that Cleopatra had committed suicide. Devastated by the news, Antony fell on his sword, mortally wounded. He was carried to the tomb where Cleopatra had barricaded herself. He died in her arms, learning of the deception only at the very end. With Antony dead, Cleopatra was captured by Octavian. He planned to parade her through the streets of Rome. In his victory, triumphed the ultimate humiliation for a queen. But Cleopatra would not give him the satisfaction. Determined to control her own fate, she planned her final act. On August 12, 30 BCE, Cleopatra committed suicide. The traditional story says she had a venomous SB, a symbol of Egyptian royalty, smuggled to her in a basket of figs. Her death marked the end of the Ptolemaic dynasty, the end of the age of the pharaohs, and the end of Egypt as an independent kingdom. It was absorbed into the Roman Empire. Cleopatra's story has been romanticized and villainized for centuries. But she was not simply a femme fatale. She was a highly intelligent and ruthless leader who used every tool at her disposal: her intellect, her wealth, her charm, and yes, her relationships to protect her kingdom in a world dominated by men and the expanding power of Rome. For 2 decades, she held off the inevitable, a queen who fought to the very last. Thanks for watching. If you found this dive into history fascinating, don't forget to like, subscribe,